Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs, welcome back to Decidedly Vanilla, and I thought I would show you guys some stuff I've been doing off camera to start off this episode. Before we get into the meat of the episode, have some vegetables, golden carrots in fact, and I took a bunch of these from Vanilla Raccoon. He had a ton when we raided the Ocean Monument in the last episode, and he said he wouldn't miss them, so I figured I would take some with me, and I took them with me to the end, where I acquired an awful lot of loot from raiding 2 end cities, one of which was the smallest end city I've ever seen. It consisted of precisely 2 rooms, had 3 shulkers, I got 1 shulker shell. Luckily, the next city I found was probably the biggest, and I ended up coming away with 48 shulker shells. So that's enough to set me up with a bunch of shulker boxes, which is going to be one of the things I'm going to tackle today. And I'm probably going to put together a bunch so that we can sell them to other people on the server, or just potentially just give them away. But, you know, we'll have a shop for the sake of having a shop, and if people can't afford it, then, you know, whatever. We'll probably just find a way to hook them up with a shulker box anyway. We can pay them, they can pay us in trade or something like that, not sure. But there was some horse armor, there's a dragon head, of course, so I'll hide that in here to keep it away from Kane. We got a knockback 2 diamond sword, nothing too special, and some decent-ish leggings and boots. Frostwalker is not something I have yet, so it's actually quite nice to have some Frostwalker boots. And in fact, in my shulker box, I have a whole bunch more loot, along with all of the hardened clay and stuff that I'd left in there, because I wasn't super prepared for my trip to the end. I have some even better Frostwalker boots. That is pretty much dynamite Frostwalker setup right there. The only other thing it could do with is feather falling, and I think I probably have a feather falling book around somewhere. So those are kind of great. I'm going to keep those as a separate set of boots, and I prefer Depth Strider to Frostwalker because I don't do a great deal of travelling over water, and when I do travel through water, I like to travel pretty fast. So we'll keep those handy, and I also have some more Curse of Vanishing gear, which I guess we might end up using or selling at some point. A few more shovels, spades, as they're called in my texture pack, and pickaxes and stuff like that. So we're doing okay. We got 10 diamonds from that raid as well, which was not bad. And then, yeah, an extra set of Elytra, which I'm probably going to sell to somebody else on the server or just give them away because I already have my set. I don't have them enchanted with mending yet, but I figure we'll probably have some at some point. We'll probably take one of the books from Rumi and get set up with that. So the plan for today is to do a little bit of housekeeping around here. I also want to show you some other things that have been happening off camera. Zloy and Kane have put together a rail station directly underneath something that I'd already built, but you know, whatever, we can figure it out. We can work on the access for this thing. They built a rail station that links directly to Farhaven, and I'm probably going to put a torch up on here just to make sure nothing spawns down here. Not that it's going to be necessarily a worry, but there you go. And so this is a spot where people can get minecarts, dispense a minecart, it just gets shoved down the rail towards Farhaven and then comes down here, breaks in the hoppers, comes back into that dispenser. Pretty neat setup, and they did this entirely without my knowledge, but that's fine. I think we should all be okay with that because it's promoting transport links, despite the fact that I'll probably still end up using the Nether Hub. It's nice to have something like that around the place. I like the rail idea especially. It's kind of cool to have multiple methods of transportation, especially if something weird happens in the nether or something, I don't know. One of these updates, one of these days, is going to break the nether completely, I am sure of it. So I've been building a couple more houses off camera in Canal Town. I've not really been doing anything super special with this that I felt like showing you guys, but this house here sprung up out of a desire to put bricks and endstone together, and I thought they turned out pretty well. There's endstone bricks as well as regular endstone mixed in here and there, and I decided to cover it in foliage in the same way that you find occasionally houses in towns that are just completely covered in ivy or something at the front, and it's sort of turned out okay. I'm not entirely thrilled with how it looks. It looks a little bit messy, but a little bit of trimming here and there with a pair of shears, and we might have this looking like a significantly foliage-laden house. I think it looks pretty cool. I think the idea behind it is sound, at least, if not necessarily the execution. And then the next set, I'm actually really happy with the colour combination here. Dark Prismarine is a freaking great block, and I've missed it. I kind of forgot all about it because we hadn't raided an Ocean Monument on the server yet, and now I have some in my possession. I am determined to use a whole bunch of it, and that's come together in this apartment block here, and it's going to be a set of different apartments. This one over here is a separate one here, that one up there, and there's a basement apartment down here, which is actually turning out pretty nice, but I still have to work on the rest of the structure of this, so that is work in progress. Now, on to some other stuff I've been doing off camera, I located myself a skeleton spawner quite close to the grounds of the museum. It's actually basically just behind that house I'm building over there. So I set up a nether portal to it just for ease of access, because I thought it would probably be best to get a nether portal access for people to have easy access to it. And just in case the Farhaven skeleton spawner was out of action or was already occupied by somebody else, I thought it would be nice to have another skeleton spawner accessible to people. It's just a single spawner, not a double. But the other thing about this one is I've set it up with my favourite kill mechanism Derp Crafter's mob softener, and it's just better than the one at Farhaven. I'm sorry, but I, with absolutely no disrespect meant to Jefferson, I just prefer this design of kill mechanism. I just think it's more efficient and, generally speaking, a bit more fun to use. Plus, it means you can deal with armoured mobs in one shot, which the one at Farhaven clearly doesn't right now. So I've been using this quite frequently. I've been using it to mend my tools, which I kind of want to do right now with this pickaxe right here, because I've mined out a lot of blocks in the end just so I could bridge between islands and stuff. The end city I found was probably about 3,000 blocks out in both directions. So yeah, I needed to harvest a bunch of end stone just to get myself anywhere close to it. But we can mend that. That's the joy of having mending on the tools now. And so for the rest of this episode, I'm going to work a little bit more on the houses in Canal Town. I'm going to work on prettifying the rail station underneath the museum, and I'm going to figure out a bunch of Shulker Boxes, which are kind of going to be my building inventory from now on. You've probably seen a couple of other YouTube builders doing this. I kind of got excited about the idea because of Etho, and Etho in his latest Let's Play, at least the latest one when this video came out, he's putting together a mini base that you can access using Elytra and doing that trick where you kind of look like you're crawling with Elytra. You can access 1 block high spaces with Elytra, but he put together a shack on the side of a mountain and had an ender chest that was just full of Shulker Boxes with different contents, and it's basically like a builder's toolkit. It was like, more or less, having creative mode available to you in survival and just the restrictions of survival building. So yeah, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to put together a collection of Shulker Boxes, which will basically be my toolkit for building, and I can take a bunch of blocks with me wherever I want because they're in the ender chest the whole time, and I don't have to worry about leaving my Shulker Boxes around because they'll just be kept in there. But that's what I'm going to work on today. Hope you guys will enjoy that. I'll see you in a minute. Hey folks, welcome back. So there may not look like there's been a huge amount of progress off camera between the cuts, but believe you me, I have done a fair amount of work, and it's been about a week since I recorded the first half of this episode, and I have put in the time here and there where I can spare it. And look at this. This may not look like much, but I'm starting to slowly replace the bottom of the canal in Canal Town with soul sand, coarse dirt, and little hints of stone here and there, a little bit of gravel, a little bit of mossy cobblestone. I kind of want to put more moss stone in there in general because I think that's going to look pretty nice considering that this is a very watery place. I feel like we'll probably end up using a little bit more of the mossy stuff in the near future. But this set of apartments here is more or less done. Some of the interiors aren't quite up to scratch, but some of them are looking quite nice. I went for a fairly minimal interior design approach because I don't think I'm going to be using these buildings all that often, but we've got a nice little desk over here with a little purpose seat, lovely fireplace. I don't build fireplaces much on servers because generally speaking fire tick is on, and so you have all of these conditions and stuff to bear in mind when you're building fireplaces. But on DV, fire tick is actually off because we like to build stuff with fire every now and again without the fear of everything burning down. So I decided to make a fireplace in this place, and it's got a little storage up here, it's got some art on the walls, that kind of thing, and this balcony rail I quite liked the use of trapdoors. You know me and my trapdoors, I love my trapdoors, so I thought that was quite a neat little touch. Feel free to plagiarize as much of that as you feel like looks interesting. Also up here we've got a slightly more modern space again with a nice rug. We've got end rods in here as lighting so we didn't have torches all over the place. And up here I've just been spamming bookshelves this week. Bookshelves are my homeboy right now because they just look really nice. They add a touch of colour to a place which you can't really get just from one block of any other type. So it's kind of nice. And have some nice open windows, will you? Because having interesting window shapes is always kind of nice. Having these long, tall windows means you can just see out, and imagine having a flat like this and just being able to look over and seeing a majestic building in the background. The museum looks kind of squat and ugly right now, but it will improve. It will improve over time. And yes, some storage and stuff like that in here. Some stuff to work on in this building, which has not really got a great deal in here yet. I don't know about the acacia either. I was using it as like occasional little shelf kind of things, but most of this is incomplete. It's just kind of there for show. And I discovered I don't really use sandstone much. Sandstone is a block I tend to avoid when I build because I don't really like the way it tiles, but this time I've been on a bit of a sandstone kick, and that is partly out of necessity because I've been turning this entire desert into a nice town, and obviously there is a ton of sand and sandstone around here to be used, but that doesn't look half bad. There's a nice texture to it, and especially in contrast to Prismarine, which is such a busy block. Even the dark Prismarine has a lot of detail in it already, so just compare that with the sandstone texture, and you've got a little bit of interesting stuff going on. I quite like it, and the bottom side of that just looks so smooth as a ceiling material, flawless. It looks like beautiful, smooth Artex or something has been applied, and this side looks a little bit rough. I mean, look at that. That's one of the things I don't like about sandstone, is just the tiled texture of it kind of looks really obvious for anything other than like ancient Egyptian architecture, pyramid building, that kind of thing. But that's the side that people... Silence, spiders. Interrupting me while I'm chatting to the people. How about you? There we go, get rid of you. Right, as I was saying, this is the side of the building you're not going to be able to see. Once I built some stuff next to it, the idea is that it's a terrace of buildings, all of different styles, really. And as I've said before, this is kind of inspired by Amsterdam, but is not necessarily trying to imitate Dutch architecture in any way. Like a couple of these, I've taken inspiration from Dutch buildings, but this one in particular is just like, this is me freestyling a modern build, just for a laugh, just because I wanted to do something. Mainly the thing I took inspiration from Amsterdam in this case is the doorways, because it's really nice having a doorway that isn't just level with the street. Create a staircase up, create a staircase down, and suddenly you're using the space in a completely different way. You have room for a little kind of foregarden at the front here, a little balcony at the top there, and it comes together really nicely. I really like the way this entrance in particular came together, so that's the bit I was really excited for. Moving on, we have ourselves some lovely bridges, and I've actually been hopping on that boat to get over here sometimes, but the bridges are here to be walked across, they're here to be admired, and I've got some lighting either side of the canal as well, and obviously these are daylight sensors, so they will come on at night because they're inverted, and I just wanted to add a little bit more character around the edges here. A few bushes, the sea lanterns underneath there, obscured by the fact that there are leaf blocks here, and putting those gratings in, putting the iron bars down there just made it look a little bit like it was intentional, lighting up the underside of the canals. And you can imagine at night with, you know, a nice shader pack on or something like that, that'd look lovely. It doesn't look too bad as is in default, but there you go. That's what we've been doing in Canal Town so far, and a lot of progress has been happening on other stuff off camera. Specifically what I said I was going to do for part of this episode, which is organize my inventory, and look at that. That, to me, is bliss. That clean inventory, I can throw whatever blocks I want in there and throw them out again into what I have set up now in my ender chest. And obviously all of this stuff I still kind of need to get rid of, still need to find somebody who hasn't got an elytra on the server, so we will figure out who that is, who is deserving of this particular set of wings. But I've got all of these tools and things that I'll probably sort through another time. I haven't really given much thought to it because this half of the ender chest is what's been grabbing my attention this week. We've got ourselves 7 Shulker Boxes, and I've stuck with 7 for now. I will probably end up expanding it into more. I still have a ton of Shulker shells left, and a few other people have been working out in the end, so I haven't really felt the need to give out Shulker Boxes to everybody. Nobody's really requested them or anything. But we might set up a shop for those later if we can maybe work in partnership with a couple of the people who are living out in the end and looting end cities as they may. But we have here geology. This is the stone box, basically, and I'm carrying around a ton of smooth stone because obviously with smooth stone you can turn it into stone slabs, you can turn it into stone brick, you can basically do whatever you want with it as long as you have it in smooth variety. You can even take out a regular pickaxe that doesn't have silk touch and turn it into cobblestone, but regardless of that I have a bit of cobblestone down in here anyway, just in case I want to throw it out there without needing to break it all up from the smooth stone. But bring a ton of smooth stone with you and you can do pretty much anything you want to with those regular stone types. Aside from that, we've got andesite, a little bit of decorative stone here and there, again just in case I want to throw it out there in the middle of doing something else, stack of gravel just in case, some cobblestone walls because I had made them, that kind of thing. So the idea behind these shulker boxes is that I'm trying to bring the basic resources with me when I can. Like this one, for example. This one, ton of hardened clay. Rather than get hardened clay of every single colour, what I thought I would do was just bring a bunch of unstained clay and then all of the ingredients you need for dye. Now these are stacks of uncooked clay because I kind of want to bring bricks and stuff with me as well, and I can always take out a regular shovel and turn those into clay balls if I need to smelt some bricks. But these, aside from bone meal, are all of the dyes you will need to produce any colour. So you've got red, yellow, green and blue in there, and all of those plus bone meal can be turned into lighter colours, and the same goes for black. You can turn that into grey, light grey, and you can do whatever you want with the colours you've got there. So basically that's like your colour palette, and I feel like having a stack of stained clay and a stack of glass and all of that dye and stuff, you can just do whatever you want with it. Glass at the moment is occupying its own shulker box, and I don't have a fancy name for this one, it's just glass. I threw iron bars in there because they behave like glass panes as well. Don't know if you guys are aware of that. If iron bars don't tend to get lumped in with glass all that much, but they basically are. They're just made of a different material. I have this one I called Sparkle Motion. I've been trying to come up with funny names for all of them because I like making funny names for things, and that's just the redstone box. Nothing really to say about this one except it's the redstone box. I don't do a great deal of redstone, especially not on camera, but I like having that around if I need it. It's got tons of redstone blocks, which means naturally tons of redstone dust, that kind of thing, and slime and redstone components, pistons, that kind of thing can all go in there. Arboreum is the fancy name that Mrs. Riffs actually helped me come up with for wood, and we have wood and saplings and the bone blocks and grass and stuff go in here as well, because if you bring bone blocks and saplings with you, you're basically bringing the maximum amount of wood you can, because you can always just grow more trees and get more saplings that way, so you don't really need to bring a huge stack of logs with you, you just need somewhere to grow saplings. The wood in there is there just in case I'm down a cave or something and I don't have any kind of access to dirt where I can grow a tree reliably. This one here is just my shulker box. This was the first one I got, and it's still absolutely chock full of valuable resources and stuff. But that's basically my wallet on the server. That's if I need to pay for anything or if I just need to set up a beacon or something like that. But we haven't actually fought the Wither in this server yet, or at least I haven't. I think several other people have got beacons of their own, but I have a feeling a Wither fight is probably in our future. I'm not sure if I'll do that on camera or not, because you guys have all seen me fight the Wither, right? Several times, at least, per series, but I reckon we'll probably get a beacon together at some point. At least, if nothing else, we're going to need one for the museum, aren't we? And last of all, pop blocks. This one is kind of the decoration, the kind of... If you need something that pops, that's what pop blocks is about. That's where I put stuff like purple, netherwart block, you know, anything that's just going to like leap out at you color-wise. Prismarine is in there as well, and lighting and stuff goes in there too. So I've kind of got my own little system here. I don't know if it's a system you guys will want to employ, but feel free, if you guys weren't entirely sure how to organize your shulker box inventory, feel free to crib as much of that as you feel like you want to. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a good little system for us. I'll probably, like I said, expand it as we go. Naturally, I'm going to run out of space or have more stuff I want to carry, but I think I'm doing pretty well as regards that stuff. I want to hop over to the museum real quick before we end this episode. We're going to end the episode in Farhaven, and I want to... Hello, you. This zombie has decided to make himself an exhibit of the front of the museum. Let's take him down from over there, shall we? Because I think he's probably going to leap down of his own accord and try and ambush me anyway. But he was trying to blend in with the armor stands. That was pretty funny. Over here at the Hall of Bones, I have taken a few people's comments from a couple of videos ago now. I think it was in the episode where I went to the end and brought back a shulker with Zloy. I asked you guys to submit a couple of interesting facts about hostile mobs, things that you thought you would put in a museum display about hostile mobs for the museum here, and I've incorporated a couple of them into this lovely display over here, and I decided I wasn't sure what I was going to put around here in the item frames, and I might still change this if I can get hold of some mob heads, because that is going to be a challenge on this server. We need to get some charged creepers on the go, and a charged creeper will have to go in the museum at some point as well, so not sure how we're going to achieve that, but we will try. Anyway, this is the hostile mobs information board, and it's got a grass block, a nether rack block, and an endstone block to say that those are the 3 dimensions in which hostile mobs spawn. So the grass representing the overworld and so forth. So these are entities which will attack the player under certain circumstances. When killed by a player, mobs will drop loot and a few XP orbs. That was something that was suggested by a commenter. Hostile mobs are present in the overworld, end, and nether. Most mobs can be prevented from spawning if the area is lit up. Those 3 signs were inspired by comments from you guys, so thank you guys so much. You guys are really helping to inform this museum project, and I really like the fact that we have a bit of viewer interaction in this project. It really feels like it should be something that the community can get involved with. So stay tuned for future episodes when I'm going to be working on the museum a little bit more, and I will ask you guys for your input, because I would absolutely love to see some more comments going up on the information boards around here. Now, last but not least, I want to use my new train station, because Zloyand Kane did set up the train station that I showed you guys at the start of this episode, and I've actually moved the entrance that was over here. I kind of wanted to put my ornamental garden back in place. I need to rebuild the hedge, but yeah, we need to figure out what we're going to do with this entrance down here. Now, I've kind of started outlining this in a few different blocks. I've run out of dark prismarine, so I'm either going to have to go and get some more of that from either one of the ocean monuments, or I'm not sure if anyone plans to set up a guardian farm, but maybe they will have by the time this video goes out. And some purple blocks, some sandstone. Again, just look at the smooth texture, lovely. And we're going to hop down here. I'm kind of doing this inspired by the London Underground tube stations a little bit, but we don't have escalators in Minecraft, obviously. I could probably do something fancy with pistons if I tried, but I don't feel like trying because I suck at redstone so bad that I feel like I should probably either look up a tutorial for that design, or maybe just make an elevator, just make a minecart lift or something like that will take us up to the surface. But for now, I'm just going to start redesigning this. I'm using purple tiles and prismarine tiles, just like they look like the kind of thing that would appear in the London Underground. There's a lot of tile work down there, some really beautiful stations somewhere in the London Underground. They've got some really cool tile work on the walls. But we're going to head over to Farhaven now. Gonna have to turn down the rail noise so you guys can still hear me, but we're gonna head over to Farhaven, and the last thing we're gonna do in this episode is place an order at Page of Mace's Adventurers Guild. Alright, well, it's almost morning. It has taken us that long to get over to here on the rail, so maybe not a form of transport I will be using all of the time, but it's certainly a nice alternative to the Nether Hub. It's a little bit more scenic, although it's mostly underground, so I don't know why I called it scenic. It's anything but scenic. Somebody building a custom tree here? Possibly, or maybe somebody's just arranged some artistic logs. Is this art? I'm not sure. Is this art? We'll see. Let me know in the comments. Is this art? That's today's comment question of the day. I think over here, though, this is Wheaton Goods and Adventurers Guild, and I think this is the request book. Yes, it is. Fantastic. Okay. Adventurers Guild request book. All requests need to have your name and quest reward with the quest's detail. Please turn over for an example. Hi, Paige. Can you get me one of each type of flower? Page of Maces. Reward 2 healing potions. Healing potions. Interesting. Form of currency. Not bad. Request 3 stack of quartz, not blocks, but shards for KB. Oh, okay, so she's completed all of her recent commissions, which is good. And this person didn't leave their name, so I have no idea who that is. Right, let's see. Right, order from Pixlriffs for the museum project. Dear Paige, please acquire 16 blocks of mycelium from nearest available mushroom island. Reward 1 diamond block. Because I feel like I should be using some of these diamonds that I have, so I'm going to give Paige a diamond block in exchange for 16 blocks of mycelium, and that might seem like a lot of diamonds to give somebody for 16 blocks of mycelium, but the idea then is that I can grow mycelium for myself perpetually. I can set up a mycelium farm over at the museum and grow as much of it as I want. And you guys know, if you've seen my previous DV series, that I love me some mycelium. I like to be able to grow mushrooms everywhere and anywhere, and I also kind of want to use it in Canal Town a little bit. Just got a couple of ideas for what we can do with mycelium this project, but I don't know where a mushroom island is, and I have a feeling Paige may know where one is located. So the Adventurers Guild is now commissioned on behalf of the museum. It's a prestigious project, this, so I feel like the reward should be prestigious as well. Also going to check on the glass shop while we're here, but yes, that's my commission page. If you'd like to get on with that at your leisure, I would be very much appreciative. Anything in the payment chest? Nope, doesn't look like it, but we have something else over here. The Vanguard's payment for 1 stack of glass. Oh, he didn't. Did it! He actually gone and done it. That's amazing. And why the hell is this stack of gold blocks? Oh god, Van. Obviously, we have a gold farm on the server now, so this isn't perhaps quite the achievement it looks like. But Van said in the Discord chat, and we mentioned it in the Ocean Monument Raid episode, that he was going to pay. Like, he suggested that a payment for 1 stack of glass would be 4 stacks of gold blocks, and he's actually given me 4 stacks of gold blocks. I almost can't believe that. And he took some purple glass. He mentioned it in the chat a few days ago. That's freaking hysterical, Van. I mean, really, if you ever want any of these back anytime, go ahead, dude. I'm not going to use 4 stacks of gold blocks for anything on this server, but my life, that was hysterical. Oh, goodness me. Well, that about wraps it up for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching today's episode of Decidedly Vanilla. My name has been Pixlriffs. Leave a like on today's episode. Subscribe if you're not already. It would be lovely to see you guys around, and I'll chat to you later. Bye for now.